Soundtrack. Soundtrack.
Good evening, y'all. It is the 3rd of February, and this is Spencer Keck with the Hillbilly Think Tank. I am the educated hillbilly, and no, that's not an oxymoron. Don't call me a moron. I'm coming at you live from Tunnel Hills, where we live for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's a great promise. We want to live up to it. Now, y'all, I am on day 3 now of freedom from buying balderdash from balding bombastic billionaire named Jeff Bezos. I also will not contribute to Musk and his SpaceX and XAI. I am cold turkey cutting off my addiction to fascism. So my addiction to Amazon ran the gamut. Lots of buying from Amazon Prime, constant listening to music on Amazon Prime Music, watching Prime videos, and even listening to ebooks on Audible. Well, I've got to step back. We have so many mom and pop businesses here in Hardin County, where I'm running for magistrate in District 3, and we need these mom and pop businesses to at least have enough money to survive. And we can't do that if we're making a billionaire a trillionaire. And that's what we're doing with Jeff Bezos and Musk and all these folks in Silicon Valley. They're trying to sell us on AI as if that's the, Jesus of our modern era. And it's not. So, y'all, I am, as I said, running for magistrate in District 3. I'm a combat veteran. I'm a union member and a labor advocate. I also am a supporter of local farmers and small business. I can't say that I support small businesses and local farmers if I'm using Jeff Bezos. If I'm driving all the way to Louisville just to go to Jeff Bezos's store, Whole Foods, which he bought out because he's a monopoly guy. If I'm doing that, I'm not helping my local farmers. Now, my family, when they came through the Cumberland Gap with Daniel Boone many moons ago, they did it to leave behind the East Coast elites who were holding them down. Actually, Daniel Boone, if he didn't make money for those guys when he came through the Gap, him and his whole family were going to be basically indentured servants. That was going to be the punishment. So, same thing happened, and one of the members of my family, he was an indentured servant. He ran away, changed his name, and that's one of my great-great-great-grandfathers. He came from the East Coast, worked his way to Kentucky as an itinerant Baptist preacher. So we need to keep our legacy alive here in Kentucky and in Hardin County. So, as I said, I'm a union member. I'm a supporter of fair wages and safe workplaces. I'm a supporter of labor unions because I want everyone to have a living wage that they can take care of their family on. And they know that their kids will have health care, quality education, new shoes when they need it, All right. And I'm an advocate for local agriculture and just big proponent of small business. Like I'm saying, can't say that enough. Why am I running? Well, I'm running because we know right now our government is not serving the public. It's serving special interests. And our growth should empower communities, not just help these millionaires and billionaires. Our children deserve opportunity without having to leave home. So my priorities for District 3 are affordable and diverse housing, green economic development, county-run public transportation. You know, that the county has promised this, and this has been on the agenda for years in the fiscal court, but it hadn't happened. We need to have it happen. We need to be able to take public transportation from Fort Knox all the way to Elizabethtown and vice versa, and stop in Vine Grove, Radcliffe, you name our outposts, Tunnel Hills, here where I live, Cecilia, Rineyville. You know, you guys put in your 2 cents worth. Let us know, where do you think that this county run public transportation could go? I know that when I was an enlisted man, and many of the outposts that I was stuck on, when I was out in San Diego, California, and didn't have a car, and I was on the largest Marine Corps base on the planet, I might as well have been on the moon, because I was in the furthest backside of that base, Camp Horno and Camp Lejeune. And without a car, I couldn't leave the barracks unless I hitched a ride with a Marine that had a vehicle, or I used the public busing system, the public transportation that came on the base and took me off base. And once I got off base with public transportation, I could hop on another bus and go from northern San Diego County, Oceanside, California, take that 30-45 minute ride down to San Diego. Or I could hop on a train, go even faster. You know, we need something like that here. We don't need young enlisted folks that are stuck on the base in Fort Knox to not know how wonderful this state is, this county is, to be able to know what Elizabethtown's like, what Cecilia's like, what Rineyville's like. You know, they don't need to only know the base. They need to be able to get out, go shopping, off base, you know, frequent these mom and pop businesses that many of them are owned by veterans. Help out folks like themselves, or like they will be in the future when they're done with their career in the Army. So we need this. We need green development. You know, I drive an electric vehicle. We saw the development of charging stations here in this county in just the last year, actually year and a half, because it's come to a screeching halt with this administration. But year and a half, 2 years ago, we've been seeing, you know, places that I can go in this large county and go charge my car. And that's needed. We need to be able to have an alternative to only having gas. You know, now that ever since I've got an electric car, I don't even think about traveling because it's so much cheaper. Usually charge it up, get 240 miles from here in the house. You got a 210 charger. But if I charge, you know, past that 240 limit, go see my mom in Eastern Kentucky. Hey, I need to know that on the way back, I can plug in. Or if I make it just to the edge of the county, I can plug in somewhere. Right. But in addition to that, what if I don't want to use my electric vehicle? I should be able to get on public transportation, go anywhere in this county, and take my family with me, take my service dog with me. We've got a great county, so much to offer here, so many things. Just is eating some great Dooster's ice cream today. Talking about buying local, best ice cream. Haven't had ice cream like that since I used to eat gelato when I was stationed in Sicily, Italy, and in Sardinia, Italy. If you haven't gone to Dooster's, man, you owe it to yourself. You can get quality, family made product. It's a family owned business. They hire locals and make some really good ice cream. And they throw some brown liquor in it too. There's always one or two of their options that have some bourbon, our state product. And it turns out they make the ice cream that a lot of the local distilleries that have restaurants, they serve Dooster's ice cream. Dooster's gets the bourbon from local distilleries and makes ice cream for them. And they make great pies, great pastries down there too. Go on down there, give them, your support. And as now a public school teacher, they support public school teachers. One of the family members is or was a public school teacher. Gotta love Doosters. So again, I'm buying local. I'm going to give a shout out to all the great local places we have here in Hardin County. As long as I'm on Freedom from Fascism February, buy local. All right, let's see if we got any comments today. Oh my gosh, looks like we got 7 comments. Awesome. All right, we got Tom Armstrong on. Thanks, Tom. Good to see you here. Tom says, alliteration's always appropriate. Thanks. As an English language arts teacher, gosh, I love alliteration. It is fun and it is appropriate. And yes, we shouldn't buy Balderdash from Bezos. All right, what else we got here? Oh, I see one of my students on here. I got to give him a shout out before he goes to bed. Ding says Trump would get rid of everything else and not AI. Oh, that's why Ding's got a good grade in my class. All right, we got, let's see here. Tom says, cool, you got the echo problem fixed. Yeah, had to go back to the simple stuff I had. I tried to get fancy. That didn't work. Thanks, Tom. Tom also said, spoke too soon. Oh, no. Is the echo still there? Darn it. All right. I'm no sound expert, so I don't know what's happening. I don't either. I'm no sound expert yet. I've got to call in one of my friend's teenage daughters. I've heard that she knows how to work on this sound equipment. I really apologize, guys, if it's echoing bad. Dang, yes. Good to see you there, bud. Tom says, many years ago, a cousin was married to a soldier. They were stationed on a base in Germany for a while. That base was within an hour's drive of where our mutual grandmother was born. Isn't that freaking awesome? Yeah. So when I was stationed overseas, my overseas duty stations were Cuba, Guantanamo Bay. Did that twice. Don't have any relatives there. I really wanted to see the rest of the island. I just got to see that small little portion that the base is on. Got to do some great scuba diving, snorkeling, fishing. Can't tell enough stories about it, or else I'd have to write another Hemingway novel. But Hemingway was right when he fell in love with Cuba. And I just got to see the part that looked like the Texas desert, But there's deer all over that base, iguanas, marsupials that we call banana rats. They had other names. I think it was guayabera. Those were some interesting creatures. Look that up on Google. Yeah, it's a great fishing. Ate some great, delicious fish there. Gosh, miss it. Would like to go back down there if I could. I'm retired. Maybe I can ask permission and go down that now, just for the fun of it, not have to work. All right. So what else we got here? Tom says she never left the base. I haven't been able to forgive her for that. Yeah, Tom, that's such a good point. I had so many folks I knew when I was stationed in Sicily. They never left the base. We had two bases there in Sicily. We had the airside base, and then another base just a little bit away from this you had to drive to. And that's where you had the hospital and the administration things and the movie theater. Oh my gosh. I knew folks who bragged about never leaving those two bases while they're in Sicily. Can you imagine the tragedy? I mean, in Sicily, you had the place where Cyclops, the one eyed monster, threw the stones at Ulysses and his men as they escaped his capture and escaped from being killed by Cyclops. You can still see those 3 or 4 stones that he threw into the ocean. You can see them right there in the mare, the sea. One of the best beaches in the world. Turns out Cyclops is actually the volcano, Mount Etna, which you can go ski on and occasionally it erupts, and you can go enjoy the lava flow and just a living volcano. What else is in Sicily? Well, Syracuse, you know, that's where Archimedes said Eureka when he discovered the law of flotation, the scientific laws that make things float, as he, I guess, was in a bathtub. He also fought off another army. They still don't know what his fire was that he used to stave off um, the army that came to attack Sicily. He saved them there in Syracuse. Man, well, so English, that'd be Syracuse, Sicily, wonderful spot. Also full of history. That's where the Allies, one of the places the Allies came in once they left Africa and swept over into Sicily on their way up to the rest of Europe. Patton came through, Gela. You can go see that while you're there. You can go see, according to folks that I talked to there, and according to apparently many archaeologists, there are more Greek ruins in Sicily because Sicily was one of the major Greek islands in ancient Greece. There are more Greek ruins in Sicily than there are on the modern islands of Greece. Man, I just can't tell you enough of the Greek and Roman and Etruscan and pre-Etruscan ruins that you can go visit there, castles. Why on earth would anyone stay in the base? Come on, Americans. Got to be interested in more cultures. I sure was. Thank you, Navy, for giving me that opportunity to really see the world and experience cultures all over the place. So glad to be back in mine in Kentucky, but I also really am glad to have seen others. All right, Jonathan, hey, greetings from occupied Memphis. Jesus H. Christ, man, we have got to end fascism. So that's why I'm on Freedom from Fascism February. I'm off of Amazon. I'm off of Jeff Bezos. I'm doing it for February. We'll see if I even stick it out longer than that. All right. It's tough, but I got to do it for my children and for my freedom. I didn't fight overseas in Afghanistan and Iraq and all the other places I was deployed to just to watch fascism take over here after I fought it over there, right? I fought against Islamofascism. I fought against authoritarianism. I don't want it here. That's just the way I see it. All right, Tom Armstrong. The echo is nowhere near as bad as it was the other night. Oh, thank goodness. I'll do what I can to correct it. But of course, can't do it while I'm live. I just don't have that know-how. Jonathan, never leaving the base explains MAGA veterans. Oh my God. Yeah. MAGA veteran. I assume he probably is a MAGA veteran, or maybe just didn't, know how to enjoy something at the time. But this one veteran, when I was stationed with Navy EOD, it was an EOD tech. God, I love those guys. But this guy's like, oh, I'm heading back. He was getting ready to transfer back to the United States. I'm going back to a 24-hour Walmart, the best of the world. Wait to have 24-hour Walmart. In Sicily, people really enjoy their families and they enjoy their family time. They shop at mom and pop businesses. So they have what scientists have really realized is the most healthy way of living, which is their hours of the day go with our circadian rhythms. So they have in the middle of the day a 2-hour riposo, which we would call repose or rest, relaxation. They got 2 hours in the middle of the day. If they're an old fashioned and truly Italian cultured business, these businesses will close their shops for 2 hours. They'll let the employees go home and the owners go back, and mama or grandma, Nona, will cook them an amazing lunch. They'll have their midday pasta meal. Then they'll take a little nap, you know, and once they're done with that rest, they come back fully rejuvenated and recharged, open up their shop again, and they're open. And they're open till 6 or 8 o'clock, depending on who they are and how many employees they have. Some of them open even later than that. But yeah, when I was there in the early 2000s, there were very few, if any, places. I don't think there were any places open 24 hours. I think the one thing COVID did for us was make us realize, hey, we really could live without a 24-hour Walmart, and we did, and we have, and as far as I know, we still do. Very few Walmarts are now open 24 hours a day for shoppers. Um, yeah, I used to love that. I used to love when I could go to a Kroger that was also open almost or even 24 hours. But am I really missing anything by not making someone work those ungodly hours just for my convenience if I have insomnia some night? No. But again, if we want fascists to rule this world, we'll let them make us slaves to whatever hours meets their fancy. All right, Tom, what are you saying? All right, Tom saying Paisley's father was career Air Force and the family spent a year or two in Germany. She can still spout off a fair bit of German speaking. And yeah, there's just nothing better than being able to have that opportunity. And I learned to speak at the time a significant amount of Italian. Um, and I really enjoyed my time over there. I've still got friends over there that if I call them up today, I could go over there and spend probably 2 full weeks, and they wouldn't let me spend a dime. I'd have to sneak off and buy stuff to treat them. That's just the way they are. They are really hospitable people. And I cannot wait for the day that they come on over and let me do that for them, because I actually have gone over there and spent that amount of time with them, you know? So, and they've told me, they gave me a lot of real history. I was lucky enough to be over there while my dear friend Pepe's grandparents were alive. Got to hear all of their experiences of what it was like when the Canadians and Patton landed in Jella. You know, um, they had been out eating bark every night because they were too afraid to plant their crops, afraid that either the Germans were going to steal it, or the Italian soldiers were going to steal their crops, or the Americans were going to bomb their fields. So They didn't plant anything. They starved for a long period of time, and that still to the day affected them. You know, we go to Sicily today, and if the family is even barely above poverty level, even if they're at poverty level, if you come to visit, they're going to give you a feast. It's going to be pasta al forno, which is, lasagna and other pasta baked in the oven dishes. To them, that's like us making a, turkey or a ham during the holidays, inviting all the family over. If they have a guest over, they're going to make a huge meal like that. It's going to be all out handmade pastas, and you're going to be treated like you've never imagined. I fell in love with pecorino formaggio or formaggio pecorino, which is sheep cheese. Gosh, especially the one that had the pepper kernels in it, peperoncino. Or actually, it's formaggio pecorino con pepe. Yeah, gosh, what a good time. I really love their salami, which we would call pepperoni. To them, pepperoni is green peppers. Yeah, just yeah, what an experience. And thank you, United States military, US Navy, for affording me that. I can never afford it to travel over there. I want to go back, but I still am not making enough money just to run over there with the whole family and to put the dogs in boarding. But, folks, we've got a great state here in Kentucky, but it's also a big world we live in, and there's room for all of us. We don't need the hate. We need to pursue life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Y'all, thank you so much for listening to me ramble on. Um, if you can, please look up what's going on in this state when it comes to AI, right? We've got AI data centers in Mason County, Kentucky. We had a whole family farm of 250 acres. These AI data center owners and brokers offered $8 million to this family for their legacy farm that they'd had for 250 years, this 250 acres. And they refused to sell it. I'm sure their family came through the Cumberland Gap with my family when Daniel Boone came through. And they're not about to give up what their family sacrificed everything to give them. And it's not easy being a farmer. We know that here in Hardin County. So these data centers are not good for us. They're poisoning our soil, poisoning our water, and they're driving away families from a livelihood they've had for generations. So here in Kentucky, if we really believe in agriculture, small business, and family farms, we can't let these AI data centers take over. Look what happened in Glendale, just south of here. Ford came in, bought up enormous amount of acreage to build what was supposed to be a plant to make electric vehicle batteries for Ford vehicles, and it was going to pay up to 20 some dollars an hour, up to even maybe $30 an hour to the folks that work there. That was going to allow Hardin Countyans not to have to see their kids leave, because they want to make good money. No, they were going to be able to stay here. But what happened? Current administration decided to do anything it could to kill the EV industry. So there we go. That $94 billion investment that our government made to help out Ford make that place gone. Now that's going to be an AI energy storage center. Wow. Guys, we got to take it back. We got to take it back. Let's do it. All right. Y'all, so here in Hardin County, we love our neighbors as ourselves because we know that Kentucky's motto, united we stand, divided we fall. Yeah. If we don't love our neighbors as ourselves, and if we don't take care of our brothers and sisters as if they are everything to us, then we're going to go down the tubes. Right? So y'all love your neighbors as yourself. Be good to one another. Ding, get some good sleep. See you in class tomorrow. Y'all have a great one.
Soundstripe.
Are you cold? Are you cold? Oh my God.